going to teach us some of the most precious lessons. Well, we should be in happiness and expectation about that.
Yeah.
To find out, throw more doors open. Yes, we have a force against that wants to keep the doors closed and doesn't want.
Yeah, exactly. There seems to be a preparation for that also, if you actually look around and see in so many different ways. Either if it's, as you say, Earth changes or whatever, we have preparations for that all over the place. Doomsday vaults, as we talked about and stuff like that. But also again, then we can tie it back to that we have all the surveillance going in, the potential, micro-shipping of people, control on every level now, not even then only the, physical or psychological, all of them, cover them all. And that's, in a way then, I have to say that, okay, that's an encouraging sign then, that there actually is more fear, as you say, if this is a historical important time, and there are hints of this in our surrounding, that is a good sign. That's a positive thing that we can take with us and take aboard, so to speak, and actually use that to our own empowerment and think that, okay, this is a good time, a good opportunity for hopefully some kind of spiritual leap or whatever in humanity or something like that.
That's right. Any time there's a massive sea change going to take place, there is a struggle. And the forces of darkness or the forces of ignorance will move because they're threatened.
Yeah,
they're actually worried. They know other things about the movement of these, astrological ages and what have you.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal with them. And if they know that some big phase shift is taking place, that's why they will openly act more. Do you remember Yuri Lina had taken photographs of it? I mean, in London, people can go and see it. The main Masonic lodge. Right above the door is the symbol of the net over the earth.
That's right.
Just like the United Nations symbols, but actually in this one it's a physical net. That's that net that they want to draw in to keep everybody clustered, everybody the same. And people want that sort of collective emotional security. People are very primitive psychologically and emotionally. And therefore they're susceptible to this kind of reining in. But what we also got to realize is that net starts to tighten when they realize that people are starting to ask deeper questions. And I am, for one, a real believer that people are now awakening more. There is literature, there's the internet, so people are asking questions, they're seeking, and they're a little bit getting jaded and tired of this status quo that's been provided by our masters, because it's limited. I even believe that the sort of resurrection of all of this Christianity in the world is a short-lived phenomenon. It's also a reaction. It died a death. And now it's come back. And it's only going to, again, pacify some nightmare fears for a very short time, until, again, it will fade and people will go, this is not handling my problems. I thought Jesus was going to do it and the pastor will do it. And for a while, they'll bask in the light of all that stuff, as they are doing now. But you see, again, that's short-lived. I don't predict it lasting more than 2.5 years. You come back 2.5 years from now, I will predict that this big evangelic zeal is going to be far less impactful than it is now.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a trauma-soothing pacification, right? A bromide, but it's not going to help people. It's not. Even people who are now really into it, real fixated, they think they've found their little satori.
Sure.
I'm predicting that even those people who are really into it right now, who think this is really, I'm glad they've come back to all of this, are going to find very soon that it isn't helping them in their marriages and in their life and in their own inner crisis. You see, because it won't happen. It doesn't. Not unless you turn off all reason. So the human being who is centered realizes that there are no problems in life. There's only challenges. There's only more self-discovery. There's an ongoing process, let's say, that's very mutable and very creative and very dynamic. Would you join these cults and you become dominated by these psychopaths and you become psychotic yourself in this way, then you're becoming fixed. You're becoming immovable. But you only do that when you're afraid, when you're traumatized. Haven't you seen a deer on the headlights? It freezes. It's free because of trauma. And we are being traumatized by the news and by so many other things right now. We're traumatized even by people. You must start to learn that people at work, people around you, as soon as they even mention or bring up in conversation something that's sort of fear-based or paranoia-based, you've got to block that. You don't have to address it. You don't have to say anything out loud. But you got to go, that's your reality. That's not my reality. You're going to have to defend your sovereignty from those people who go, oh, my goodness, I'm so scared. I'm so frightened. Things are really crazy. You got to sort of say, well, I'm sorry for you that that's your reality, but don't infect me with that. I'm in my center. Everything is fine. I'm acting the way I need to. I'm being guided, and I am not insecure.
I mean, don't let that in, you mean? Or
don't let it in.
Yeah.
Absolutely do not let it in. Cancel it. Intellectually, cancel it. Because it's an energy that if hypnotists know this.
Sure.
And therefore can infect you. It can infect you.
And this can get really bad maybe in the years ahead, more trauma, more... whatever, right. Earthquakes, global warming, here we come, world war, whatever.
Right. And my message to people using his 9/11 as one of the best examples is, okay, it may have shaken you up, but did it wake you up?
Yeah.
Because they're going to throw more at you, and maybe they should. Maybe it needs to happen, because the main question here is not that it just shook you up so that tomorrow you can roll over and go to sleep and go back to your little, your little dream.
Yeah.
Did it wake you up? And if it woke you up, then that's great.
That's very good. Yeah, exactly. This is again what I said earlier. This is a tremendous time before an opportunity for so many people to wake up. Actually, when they are being threatened, I guess. I mean, it's an awful way to have to go down that road, but maybe it's necessary because we have become so lost in where we are, currently heading.
Sophocles said it. I don't know how many thousands of years ago, that nothing great enters the life of mortals without a curse. Nothing great enters the life of mortals without a curse. But through that curse, through that friction, through that clash, which is a vital clash, which is ever ongoing in life, that is what the great is. The great comes from that. It comes from this examination. And as I say, it's always rooted in a person's understanding of their own self.
Yeah.
The Christian movement has worked so heavily on causing fragmentation within your own self, between you and your body. It's there's another quote from an Augustinian priest in Poland. He said, "Follow our Lord's example and hate your body. If you love it, strive to lose it," says the Holy Scripture, "in order to save it. If you wish to make peace with it, always go armed, always wage war against it, treat it like a slave, or soon you yourself will be its unhappy slave." Look at the kind of psychotic mind that would imagine that your body is your slave, is your enemy. You see, and a person who embodies that becomes, a despot. They're already a despot, meaning a tyrant within themselves.
Yeah.
That individual, I am telling you that even though it's not obvious the process of how this happens, although if you studied Jung and Freud, it should be obvious, or Wilhelm Reich, particularly because he talks about very much how the mind affects the body, and then the body affects the world, your behavior, you see. So to psychologists, it's no mystery at all. But to ordinary people, it is a mystery of how your thinking creates reality.
Yeah.
So your predicament, your scenario, your situation, and the world, because the world is all people. One is personal and one is collective. And when people are telling you to take away the responsibility, because now it's the Pope's responsibility or the priest's responsibility or God's responsibility, he'll take care of it. This is one of the most critical problems. And now we've had 2,000 years to study that and find out that what I'm saying is true. We're at the point now where we can be grown up enough to accept that and look for something, a different way. Not a religion of, another herd, a collectivized thing, but a truly, free situation.
Yeah.
Because to me, freedom and love are two words for the same thing. And where you do not see freedom, you do not have love. Make that 100% granite. Where there is no freedom, there is no love. So stop deluding yourself. Now, people may love what freedom gets them, but they may not love freedom. Or I put it on my forum in another way. I said that freedom from freedom is not freedom. So what we have today, Henrik, in the world is many, many people who really do want to be free. Only trouble is they want to be free from freedom.
Very interesting, yeah.
And Big Brother, he's happy to hear that because he's dressing up and he's making phone calls, and he's going, get with it, guys. They want to be free from freedom.
Yeah.
You know, so they're up 24 hours typing away, making their new world order.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're busy. They can't wait to bring you what you want.
Yeah.
So when I see the slave-master relationship, I am fascinated by the actions of the master, but I am infinitely more interested in the slave's mentality.
Yeah, the persons who accept that.
What's your game? What's your gig? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That you have imprisoned your own mind.
Yeah.
This is what my particular focus is.
Yeah, scared of the potential freedom there's there. But again, I hear what you're saying there with the center, because that must be it. That must be the the main problem, because if you don't have that center, you're always gonna search for the security on the outside somewhere.
The scaffolding.
Yeah.
Right. If an old building is falling down, don't you need the scaffolding?
Yeah.
If a teeth is rotten, don't you put the brace on it? If a person's legs are weak, don't they get crutches? Didn't Salvador Dali, those incredible paintings where he shows these big heads popped up by the crutch? He knew all about it. Psychological insecurity requires crutches. And today we have many crutches, and the manufacturer of the crutches is not to be blamed. You cannot blame the crutch. Blame your own crippledness. If you're psychically crippled, if you're emotionally mutilated, don't blame, Big Brother, quote unquote, from coming in to strengthen you, that you have now the external forms of control.
Yeah.
Because you have none within. Psychically sovereign, you have no sovereignty, then don't expect any social sovereignty. I've said this till I'm blue in the face, and I hope people are listening, because if you don't have the inner sovereignty and the inner immunity, do not expect it externally, and do not expect it, to be given to you by anybody else. What they'll give you is control. They'll give you power. They will enforce. They will infuse police states. All of those things. So when I see those things, I am not concerned. I see those as a symptom, not a cause.
Exactly, and in a way, that's the main idea, I think, to be aware of them and observing them. But I mean, for people who want to go out and fight it, whatever. Oh, okay, good luck with that. That's currently not my take on it anyway. To actually go out there with arms or guns or whatever it is. I don't know, but observing it and getting the feeling that this is a sign that something actually is at least occurring. Something is happening. Something is changing, and
Well, remember, it's very, very empowering for a person to project an external nemesis, and then go out and with muscular skill, not psychological skill, but some sort of political, action. It feels very good, erotically, sensationally, sensually, to win in those kinds of battles. It just has a particular, sensational appeal. Just like any sport does, or mastering.
Another thrill, basically.
Another thrill. Yeah. It's a thrill. It's a very, very powerful thrill.
Yeah.
And man is always looking for that thrill. Don't you see that if we really step back from the canvas, what would be if we have what would it be if we have created all of these monsters, and we've created the fight itself, and then we create the armor and the sword to go and do the fighting? You see, what happens if we're caught in that loop, where we manufacture the problem? And the Course in Miracles has gone into this. If anyone's familiar with that book, The Course in Miracles, the Course in Miracles will always say that why do you manifest a problem when there isn't one? I'm paraphrasing, but the gist of this is, don't look at the external problem. Look at why you imagine there is a problem. Look at why you're motivated. Look at how you're motivated, you see. Look at how your energy is going towards a fix-it, in this very active masculine kind of way. But it's a different kind of mentality to ask, where did the problem come from? And why am I reacting in panic or whatever? I would sort of modify it and say this, that many times in life, and we've had discussions like this on the forum, that in answer to certain people's questions, that look, in life, there's two realities. There's what is done, and there's the way that it is done, and also the why. So most people have trained themselves to see the what that is going on. But most people need to further train themselves and understand why a thing happens, the motive, in other words, the motive, and also the way in which it is done. The way in which it is done. So, if George Bush or Blair